on that one, but the Kilbeggan, I'll totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Let's see here. This says we are now streaming live on Facebook.
Cool.
And so is my phone. So great.
Is my heater running in the background going to mess up the audio?
It's very mellow. I don't hear it.
Okay, I can go turn it off if it does. Cammy give me a look that's amazing. She does not want to turn it off. We like pretending we're snowed in because we like spending time with each other and without other people there. So when there's the lightest dusting of snow, we tell everyone we're snowed in. We can't leave the mountain.
But you're talking to me, and snowed in means something very different.
We are legit snowed in now.
Ah, okay.
It's so normally we'd fake it, but now it's one of those getting out to get supplies would require snowshoes. And
in Washington State, how much snow equals being snowed in? I'm just out of curiosity.
The drifts are getting close to 4 feet. I think we only have about 2 foot of actual snow, but we're also in one of the highest wind areas in the nation. And so we've got drifts that are, almost the top of the chain link fence. That's a fair amount of snow. That seems like a fair amount of snow even for here. Yeah. We've had well, our snow has hung around. So I shared a picture the other day. I think we've had over 2 feet since like the last week of January. And we're looking at just a general winter crap week. So I'm really looking forward to it. Let's see here. We got Eric, Lindemann, Josh, Amos. Hey, what's going on, Josh? Jay, how's it going? So nice to see some people jumping on Facebook. Appreciate that. And again, Facebook, I apologize if I'm looking down. It's because I'm seeing your messages on my phone. I will check in and I'll give them back to Rory. We're on Zoom. And Zoom lets us push to Facebook Live. So yeah, real quick. We can't see anything happening on Facebook. So Josh could be there doing all kinds of obscene and obnoxious stuff. We wouldn't know.
Well, we'll see Eric and Lindemann and Jay in a few minutes anyway on the Zoom call at 6 o'clock. So, 6 o'clock my time. I guess we'll push that question out to the Facebook land and see what they report back. So right before we went live, Rory and I were discussing our favorite Irish whiskeys. So looking for feedback. What do you guys like the most? I've been testing out Redbreast this weekend, and I find it enjoyable. Rory ranked it below both Jameson and Kilbeggan. Kilbeggan over Jameson, yes?
Kilbeggan is my favorite, yes.
Yeah, that's what my research says.
Yeah. It's like Connemara, I've got to be in the mood for. Green Spot isn't nearly as good as they charge for it, which I didn't know until you bought me that shot.
Have you had the yellow spot and the red spot?
There was an afternoon in downtown London where I'm pretty sure that I did, but it was a while ago.
Okay. All right. I've only recently discovered that there were older age statements of it. So Eric says Redbreast is his favorite. Jay said Honey Irish Mist. Have you had that? I've never even heard of it.
Is a liqueur more than Irish whiskey. And if you like sweet things, you will probably love it.
I got it.
Yeah.
Well, to me, bourbon is sweet, but you said it tastes like a tire on fire. So
yeah, it tastes like burning rubber.
Yeah. Eric said, which Jameson? There are so many now. I can tell you independently, the cold brew Jameson, don't get that one. That one's no bueno.
I went to their distillery, and this is the same with Kilbeggan, is they have these special bottlings now, and almost none of them are as good as their regular.
It's very, now that whiskey has become such a very popular thing, of course, we're going to maximize by giving you all the little nerdy different possibilities. This is a bourbon nerd thing, but I discovered this weekend there's a company, MGP is like the main producer of juice for most bourbon. So anybody that does a sourced juiced bourbon, they're probably using MGP. And there's a company that decided to make fun of the entire aftermarket. And they have one called Tater Bait. It's literally just MGP rye, and they're calling it Tater Bait for all the people that spend, 2 and 3 and 5 times market value in the aftermarket. So very amusing. What is I'm gonna screw up this pronunciation. Nopogue Castle 12-year-old?
Nopogue, yeah.
I'm glad I skipped the K. Nopogue.
It's okay.
Oh, Eric, I like that reference. Normally get my full Jameson fix when in Boston and visit the Black Rose. That's that's an old school Irish bar down at Faneuil Hall. So I approve. So to our actual topic this week, Mr. Miller, Malcolm is doing first year married guy things on Valentine's, so he's not here today. So he dropped on us the topic of gatekeepers, specific to there was a conversation about a sort of a traditional martial art and traditional in terms of form and forum, and is there a value in that system to gatekeepers? I'm going to let you go first.
Me meaning me. Okay. It's for the people who aren't familiar defining the term, or gatekeepers. And I'm more familiar. I usually think of publishing. Publishing houses used to be big gatekeepers. It was one of those until there was self-publishing. You had to meet certain standards before they would decide that you were cool enough that they would publish your book. So the books that got published were set to a certain standard. There were notorious fuck ups within it. You know, books that became classics and bestsellers that were turned down 30 or 40 times. And it is true that most self-published books kind of suck because people don't want to bother to do the editing or do the research on how to make it look right. So I can go into this deeper. What I'm going to say is the idea of gatekeepers is someone that gets to decide whether someone else is legitimate. If they're doing it to protect other people, it's probably okay. Once they switch to they're doing it to prove that they're worthy to be the gatekeepers, once it's about me being the gatekeeper instead of I'm trying to give people guidance on not getting stuck in bullshit, it gets dark really, really quick.
Okay, and that actually perfectly matches up with the way I was thinking of it as well, sort of like a QC for the individual, but it really, really resides on the culture of the environment outside of everything else. Like it has to be a fostering type culture where the gatekeepers are there to make sure the individual is rising in quality, as opposed to like arbitrary markers that don't mean that much, or worse, non-objective, shall we say. I was trying to think of a nice way to say it.
Well, and that's, we all know about the politics of martial arts. We all get, most of us have at least some experience with how fucked up that could get. So every couple of years, someone starts a conversation about whether or not there should be a national certification in whether you're a legit martial arts instructor, especially a legit self-defense instructor. And knowing how vicious and stupid the politics get, to get, you know, pick whatever style you think is useless, you know, but has a nationally recognized organization. And imagine what would happen if they were put in charge of saying who was legit and who wasn't. We had a local tournament, an annual tournament here every year that was all styles were invited, but only Taekwondo could score.
So the rules were for Taekwondo moves? Is that what you're saying?
Basically, only Olympic Taekwondo techniques counted towards the score, but we didn't care if you're a judo guy, you could definitely enter. You could throw the guy on his back, choke him unconscious, and still lose because he threw a half-ass back fist in there somewhere.
Is that the moral victory?
Well, and we had one of our guys in our dojo who go there every year just to crush whoever was expected to be the winner and get thrown out. But
not that we're encouraging that behavior, but it is funny.
Yeah, but it was just, yeah, it is funny, but also it was kind of a fuck you, which I think was warranted. But to get back to the subject, do we want, you know, the odds of the gatekeeper not being a political animal are about zero. And once it becomes about, like anything else, once it becomes about the position instead of about the job, it's going to be corrupt on some level.
Yeah, that's why I said I think it truly falls back to like culture, in terms of culture and the environment. I remember being a brand new Padawan way too long ago, and the initial gatekeepers I ran into were there just to make sure I was experiencing a good class. And I thought that was really particularly cool, and a very positive approach to the methodology. You know, were there little probably things along the way where it's like, well, do it this way, do it that way. Why? Because that's the way it's done. Yeah, I'm sure there's some of that. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Too many throws in my head, but
You know, what is it for the good of the order? Is that the?
We got 2 minutes left.
Yep.
We switched.
Oh, yeah.
So throwing out something there's no possible way we can answer. Almost every school also has enforcers, and those are the
Oh, yeah.
people. You know, if you got a student who's being a dick, you have them go play with Matt.
Wait, Matt, who's Matt? Oh wait, don't answer that.
Yeah. You know, a certain individual whose initials may not be Matt. But and that's part of, you know, every group has rules enforcing. Again, if you're enforcing the wrong rules, you're going to have a wrong group. If you're enforcing them in the wrong way, you're going to have a wrong group. You're enforcing them for the ego of the instructor or to protect the instructor's uselessness. Then it's going to weaken the whole thing. But they exist in almost every school I've seen.
I think I can say this without speaking out of school. I've been tasked to play that role from time to time back before it was my school. And it was largely almost exclusively young, strong dudes who didn't know what it meant to not use all of their fury and power and young buckness. And, you know, sometimes I ran into somebody bigger and stronger who was like, oh, that doesn't work so well. I should probably use more technique and less brute force.
That was one of my jobs too, and I don't think I ever realized that that's what Dave was having me do.
I knew exactly what I was trying. I knew exactly what I was being told to do.
I didn't. It was just, you know, I was the tiny, you know, whatever rank I was at the time, because, you know, that stuff quits for us. That stuff absolutely quit at black belt. But I was a tiny, you know, he doesn't believe that this is based on technique, so you go prove it to him. It's like, oh, okay.
Did I ever tell you the best, worst compliment you ever gave me at the same time?
Probably. You say things a lot, but I forget things a lot.
That's fair. I won't give context to protect the identity of the innocent, but it was at a seminar, and it was Paul, go work with that person. And I was like, oh, why? Like, because you can make him better and keep yourself safe and keep him safe at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a big mountain to climb, literally in this case. So.
But it's a job. It's one of those, one of the most challenging students I ever had. Just injured everyone she played with. No concept of control.
Yeah.
Her day job was super, super dangerous. I wanted her to injure anyone that she ever had to. So it got to the point where I was the only one that could spar with her for the same reasons. You had to be able to protect yourself against someone with no concept of control. And challenge them without humiliating them.
That's the individual with the initials we mentioned earlier. I have a similar, not totally dissimilar set of conditions, other than he also can break everybody that he works with. So we have to be a little bit careful. But real quick, Rachel, the Zoom contact, so the link for the Zoom is inside the private. So this is like a little FOMO thing for you guys watching publicly. So I apologize. But one of our members asked, it is inside the private Facebook group in the announcement section. It's that link. It's always the same link. So it won't change. It's the same one. So for everybody else watching, thank you guys so much for watching. I know it is Sunday night. I know it's Valentine's Day, but we really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. And I definitely appreciate the conversation on the Irish whiskey, because that's always fun. Mr. Miller wandered off, I'm presuming to get more coffee. You are welcome, Rachel. And we've got people in our waiting room for our 6 p.m. Zoom call. So,
sir, yes, sir.
I guess that's it for right now.
Yeah, and you were exactly right.
Yeah, coffee. There was a default. It was one of the two options. Coffee was pretty high on the list. So,
yeah.
But that's it. So, thank you guys very much for joining us. Go enjoy your Sunday, kids.